Hey you guys, it's Peter and welcome to my channel, Peter Likes Books. And today, I have a little special guest with me and that is my pup, Boo Radley. Hello Boo Radley, how are you? He said, I don't really like being on camera too much, Dad, but that's all right. So I never talk about my dog's names on here. I mean, I have a couple times in some of my vlogs and my Peterisms videos, but I was just sitting here and he was sitting right next to me and I thought, you know what, this is kind of a funny video to do, so I think that I'll do that. And I wanted to talk about why I named my dog Boo Radley, because a lot of people ask, they're like, oh my gosh, you love To Kill a Mockingbird so much and all that kind of stuff. So yes, I love To Kill a Mockingbird so much. And I wanted to name him Scout, actually. I didn't want to name him Boo Radley. I did not care if he was a boy or a girl. His name was going to be Scout. But unfortunately, a week before I got him, my best friend Tanya, she got a dog and she named it Scout. Thanks, Tanya. So anyway, when we went down to go pick him up, and he has a biological brother named Tucker who is sitting right over here licking his paws. We got them, and Alex reached down and picked up Tucker, and I reached down and I picked up Boo. And I believe so much in imprinting. Did you guys ever read, did you ever read the Twilight series? Okay, I don't love them, but in there where Jacob talks about like imprinting, like I really believe in imprinting a lot. And Tucker is very much Alex's dog, and Boo Radley is very much my dog. I mean, he follows me around constantly. He always wants to be by me. He just, you know, everything about Boo Radley is, he's a daddy's boy, aren't you? Mm-hmm. He said, I sure am. And so anyway, when I looked down at him, I was like, okay, now what character from To Kill a Mockingbird am I going to name him? Names are very important to me. You know, when I was growing up, why I was named Peter was extremely important to me. And I wanted to know, and you know, my mom would tell me stories, and she would say, my mother was a person of strong faith, and she loved Peter from the Bible, and she loved that Peter is, you know, Jesus' best friend, was hung upside down on the cross because he didn't want to be so like Jesus. And she also loved that Peter means rock of life, strength. She also loved Pete Seeger, the folk singer. She also thought that when I was young, I could be Pete, and then in high school and college, Peter, and then as I grew older, I could be like Pete, like old man Pete again. Which is interesting because my parents called me Pete, but everybody else calls me Peter. My husband sometimes calls me Pete, my best friend, but very rarely. So names are important to me. If I had been a girl, and I talk about this on here sometimes, I would have been Phoebe from Catcher in the Rye, or I would have been Daisy from The Great Gatsby. And my mother actually had other books that she wanted to pick names from. She really wanted to name me Holden, like Holden Caulfield from Catcher in the Rye, and my dad said, we're not doing that to him. We're not doing that to him. And her fear was that The Catcher in the Rye was so popular that year that there would end up being all kinds of, you know, children named Holden, which is, I rarely ever bump into a Holden. Do you guys? Lots of Dylans, but not Holdens. And she also had thought about naming me Dylan because, you know, one of her favorite writers and things like that. And she loved the musician, Bob Dylan. But other than that, and can you imagine there's 5,000 Dylans out there right now? So when I was picking out my dog's names, it was very, very important to me how to pick them. Alex got to pick Tucker, and he immediately knew that he wanted Tucker to be the dog's name. It was like, whatever next dog we were going to get, it was going to be Tucker. Boo Radley was a little bit more difficult because I wasn't sure which character I wanted to name him after in To Kill a Mockingbird. I very much think it's important that pets' names match who they are. And it was interesting because when we got him, the woman said to us, we were only going to get one dog, and she said, if you get one of them, you have to take both of them because I'm not going to let him go alone. And I said, okay, well, what's going on? And she said, well, she pointed to Boo, and she said, the vet told us that he had some issues because he was the last born, he was the runt, and his brother watches over him. It's the sweetest thing you've ever seen. And I was like, really? And she was like, yeah, there's something wrong with him developmentally, we're not really sure what it is. And she's like, you know, he's just not as like understood as the other dogs, he's a little slow. And I was like, okay. And so anyway, we took both of them, both Boo and Tucker. On the way home, they slept with their, like, right next to each other and their heads crossing each other, and they still sleep like that every night. It's absolutely adorable. If Boo cries out, Tucker is there that quick. And so I knew right away that Atticus wasn't appropriate, and that was probably my next name, or Jim, or Dill. And so I just thought, he's a Boo Radley. I think it's absolutely perfect. You know, he is incarnate of what Boo Radley was. misunderstood and gentle and very, very sweet. And I love him. And he is just one of the most amazing dogs in the entire world. He can sit on the floor and watch a piece of fluff just float by for hours, and he never gets bored. He is a very, very good boy. He sleeps right next to us all the time, and he's very protective of his brothers. So in a lot of ways, he's very much like Boo Radley. I have to put you down for a second, okay? And what's interesting is, I posted a picture of him on Instagram years ago. You guys, I made the LA Times because of Boo Radley, okay? Or Boo Radley made the LA Times. But years ago, here, I'll show you. It says, you can't see it on here, but at the top it says LA Times. But I had posted a picture of Boo Radley, and I put on Instagram, and it's a picture of him just sitting on a chair, and it says, Mr. Boo Radley, hashtag dogs of Instagram. And I posted it, I don't even know when I posted it, but they did an article in the LA Times about famous dogs that are named Boo Radley. And like Jake Gyllenhaal has a dog named Boo Radley, and he was in the article, but I was in the article too. And it goes in here and it says, Instagram revealed lots of animals with a To Kill a Mockingbird moniker. Boo Radley in black and white. And then it goes in here and it says, a short-legged, noble Boo Radley. And that's what you are, isn't it? You are a short-legged, noble Boo Radley, and we love you for it. I think names are important, and when I write my books and I pick out characters' names, the character's name for me is always so important. And actually, the next book that I'm working on, the names are a play on words, and they are very important to the characteristics and the personality traits of the characters themselves. And one of the things I really don't like is when I read a book and they haven't really thought out the characters' names. Like, it's kind of really a turnoff for me, you know? I think character names are so important. And I look back on Harper Lee, and I think the fact that she, you know, named, you know, Arthur Boo Radley, I think to this day is like, you know, there's been so many movies that have referenced it, like, you know, what's that, Buddy and June, or whatever, that Benny and June, that movie, when she walks down the stairs and she says, having a Boo Radley moment, are we? You know, there's so many different movies and books that have referenced Boo Radley, and it's just such this classic character, and I think we understand truly who Boo Radley is. And it's so funny because when I tell people about him and I say he is really a lot like Boo Radley, people really understand. I love you guys, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye.